The Body and OAA Enemy of Love album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this new collaborative project from The Body and OAA. The Body you may be, a little bit more familiar with. OAA is AJ Wilson, Portland-based producer, who in his early days, his first couple of EPs, they were fine. I mean, they didn't really, stop me in my tracks or anything, but they were totally, decent, electronic albums with some pretty okay, average at best beats. However, last year he put out Contracted Reality, his debut full-length solo project, and I did enjoy the harsher approach to the beats on this album. It was a little noisier, it was a little grittier, and he has somehow found his way into the presence of The Body, experimental metal duo who have really become one of modern metal's most experimental forces. And my relationship with The Body over the years has been a little all over the place, to say the very least. I have had a wide array of thoughts on their music, but the thing is, more often than not, I have not been a big fan of their solo work. I mean, while I do think that their self-titled album goes underrated, and I fought against it, but I Can't No Longer is pretty good too, most of their solo albums I kind of, wrote off, and just, they don't really excite me that much. Their collaborative projects, though, I can go down a whole list of albums that I've loved from The Body. Their work with Thou, their work with Full of Hell, their work with Uniform, and my all-time favorite Body project with the Hacks and Cloak. They have been known to put out some really overly decent collaborations. Even their album that they put out with Big Brave last year showed The Body is willing to take on almost anything right now. Which leads me to this new album. I heard the single leading up to it. I thought it was pretty wild, and I figured I would dive in, and you know what? I'm happy that I did. This album is really tortured. We have Devalued that starts off this album. Let me just say, The Body have this way of putting in this fear, this dread into their music right off the bat that is pretty unbelievable. And amongst this, we have OAA's electronics, and that makes things pretty dense right off the bat. There's this just wall of sound that I can't get enough of, and I also just love the quieter moments here too that create a real sense of paranoia. I mean, this goes without saying, this isn't going to be an album for everybody. Personally, this is where I love hearing The Body. And OAA on production really makes this even more deafening, more tortured, more doom-inducing. Pseudocyesis is not a drop more hopeful. This track is harsh noise, deafening production. It's home for The Body fans. But we also get these oddly funky drums and these harrowed screams in the distance. And once again, it's the pacing here, the drops, the moments of quiet. It really keeps me on the edge of my seat. This is where I love hearing The Body. It actually makes for some of the most nerve-wracking moments since their project with the Hacks and Cloak. And those distant guitars, they just give this track the slight human touch that they really needed. It's abrasive, it's disgusting, more please. On Fortified Tower we get this sort of looming beat, it sounds so grisly. There's a real sense of danger here once again, and that's why I love hearing The Body the most. And that's not just me, I know that's where all of their fans are. But it's the little details, the screeching guitars, the hazy production, that's what makes this a knockout. You're so anxious and twisted. Oh, and Obsessed Luxury is one of the weirdest tracks here. We get this harsh industrial groove here. Yes, there certainly is a groove there. This is also just super gnarly, and if you're looking for a progressive track, no, this is not it, homie. This just gets into its nasty roots and just stays there. But it's wild, it's chaotic, and grisly. Between you and me, there's always a few tracks, even on collaborative albums from The Body, that just kind of blow by me. Like Hired Regard, I'm not wowed by this. I'm not on the edge of my seat. This is mostly an OAA beat with The Body screaming over it. It's fine. It does the trick at the moment, but it's not very collaborative. Then we get to Conspiracy Privilege, and look, you're always going to come to tracks like this on Body projects. It's a little too abrasive, and does that make me a big wuss? Yeah. But there's just nothing special here, especially with just how genuinely forward-pushing so much of this album is. Speaking of the rest of the album, I think it's one of the better Body projects in a while, especially the collaborative side of them, and OAA does his great part too. Barren of Joy, I've loved this for a while now. It's grisly, it's explosive, it's just so over the top. It's just so overblown. It sounds like it's gonna rip through my speakers at any moment, and I like that. It's quite frankly gross and disgusting and disturbing, but in the world of the body, that's kind of par for the course. And as far as a deep cut goes, I would say look no further than Miserable Freedom. We get the best of both worlds on this track in a big way. We get this really obtuse, weird beat and this really far out production that just sets the tone so great. But the thick beat is fantastic. I love how far and out of reach the vocals are. It's simultaneously the most harrowed track here, but also the most human. Ignorant Messiah is really good too. I mean, as far as like modern power electronics, don't look much further than this. Just so huge. This wall of sound is immense. I mean, is it reinventing the wheel? No, not really. But it is very solid. Also, I love the album artwork for this. And this album finishes off with Docile Gift, and I have to say, the more I listen to this album, the more it does remind me of that album they did with the Haxon Cloak. Maybe not in the dark ambient parts, but, the patience to it, the certainly, the pace to it. And that isn't a bad thing. No, not at all. This is a really solid finale. I love the looming beat, the harsh guitars. I am all for this. This is a really good collaboration from The Body and OAA. I kind of went into this on a whim, but I had to at least try it because it's The Body. It's a collaboration project from them. I usually eat this up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and honestly, I think it's the best collaboration they've done since, I don't know, their work with Full of Hell a couple of years ago. This is gnarly. The pacing is ridiculous. The production is insane. There is this wall of grisly sound behind this whole album that just does not let up once it enfolds you. It is a brutal listen. It's not going to be for everybody, but if you're into abrasive ear candy, yeah, man, go for this. I'm feeling a light 8, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.